Have you ever noticed how the most extraordinary people rarely make headlines? Let me tell you a story about someone who shone brightest when no one was watching, my Uncle James. Picture a small Ohio town, rows of modest houses, and smack in the middle, his white home with blue shutters, freshly painted every spring. While my parents juggled jobs and exhaustion, it was Uncle James who became my anchor, guiding me with a steady hand and a smiling wave to every neighbor. Now, you might be thinking, what made him stand out? It wasn't wealth or fame. It was the simple, heartfelt acts, a consistent presence, a warm greeting, and an uncanny knack for remembering every child's name. Social capital, that invisible network of trust and goodwill, was his superpower. By investing in our small community, he became the person everyone turned to. But for me, he was the first to make me feel truly seen. Isn't it remarkable how a single person's kindness can ripple through a life? Let me take you back to a chilly autumn afternoon. I was 7, lonely, and weighed down by my family's struggles. As I trudged home, there was Uncle James, perched on his porch swing, a beacon of calm in an unpredictable world. "Hey there, kiddo. How was school today?" With that question, everything changed. What is it about being genuinely asked about your day that feels like magic? Neuroscientists call this attunement. When someone tunes into your emotions, it releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. For me, that porch became a sanctuary. Uncle James spun tales of childhood misadventures, go-karts built from scraps, and treehouse dreams that crashed but never broke his spirit. Each story was a lesson in resilience, wrapped in laughter and love. Now, imagine being a lonely kid and feeling for the first time that someone not only notices you, but delights in your company. That's the kind of memory you carry for life. Now, let's talk about a summer that changed everything. I was 10 and drowning in frustration. I just couldn't read as well as my classmates. Ever stared at a page and felt the words blur into a secret code? Cognitive psychologists call it reading fluency, and mine was missing. Most adults would have handed me flashcards or told me to toughen up. Not Uncle James. Instead, every evening, we'd settle onto his porch swing with a book. Patience, that was his secret ingredient. He'd read a page, then wait while I stumbled through mine. Never a hint of annoyance. Here's the conflict. I was convinced I'd never catch up. But with his encouragement, something clicked. Words began to flow. That autumn, I returned to school not just caught up, but ahead. Victory wasn't just mine, it was ours. And if you've ever doubted you could overcome a challenge, remember, sometimes all it takes is one believer sitting beside you, turning the pages at your pace. Fast forward to the stormy years of adolescence. Teen life? It's a minefield of mistakes and self-doubt. When I failed my driver's test, I felt like the world had ended. Sound familiar? But as soon as I slumped onto Uncle James's porch, he shared something he'd never told me he failed his first test too. Psychologists call this normalizing failure. Uncle James didn't dismiss my pain, but held a mirror to his own setbacks. He reframed failure as a rite of passage, not a dead end. With his encouragement, I took the test again and, you guessed it, passed. Isn't it astonishing how hearing someone admit their own stumbles can make you less afraid to try again? His quiet wisdom taught me that resilience isn't about never falling, but about always choosing to stand back up. Let's zoom out for a moment. What if I told you Uncle James's generosity didn't stop at our front door? He fixed bikes for kids, brought groceries to neighbors in need, and never asked for thanks. Sociologists call this prosocial behavior, helping others without expecting anything in return. Ever wonder why people like that do what they do? I once overheard someone ask him, and he just smiled, "If you can make someone's load a little lighter, why wouldn't you?" His small, consistent actions created a web of goodwill that strengthened our entire neighborhood. You may think, can one person really make a difference? In Uncle James's case, the answer was a resounding yes. His legacy wasn't built on grand gestures, but on steady, quiet care-proof that the greatest impact often comes from the simplest intentions. Life has a way of pushing us out of the nest, doesn't it? The summer before college, I was terrified, excited, but so unsure. One evening, I confessed my fears to Uncle James as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in pink and gold. He listened, truly listened, then told me, "Courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about taking the step even when you are." Attachment theory calls this a secure base, someone who gives you confidence to explore the world, knowing you can always return. His words became my compass as I navigated the rough waters of university and adulthood. Even when he grew frail, his spirit stayed unbreakable. I'll never forget the reunion toast I gave him, or the tears in his eyes when I called him my mentor and second father. Isn't that what we all long for, to know our quiet efforts mattered to someone? When Uncle James grew ill and finally passed, it felt like the whole town grieved. At his funeral, faces old and young gathered, neighbors, old friends, kids now grown, everyone he'd touched. It hit me. A person's legacy isn't measured in possessions or accolades, but in the lives they lift up along the way. Neuroscience talks about mirror neurons, how one person's empathy can spark kindness in others. Even now, whenever I'm tempted to withdraw or doubt myself, I remember Uncle James's porch, swing wisdom. So, I ask you, who's your Uncle James? And how will you carry the torch forward? The best way I can honor him is by living as he did, making someone's day brighter, believing in the unseen potential in myself and others. Maybe, just maybe, we can all be someone's bright light on a cloudy day.